Why is this here? Sorry about that. Let me put that over here. Okay. We're going live, y'all. And remember, we do lives every weekday. I didn't go live yesterday. Didn't feel like it, to be perfectly honest with y'all. And that's okay. That's what we do. It's fine. It's fine. Right? So welcome. Come on in. Let's get this thing rolling. Let's get it started. Good morning. Happy Thursday. We're talking about QuickBooks. We're talking about when QuickBooks is stressful for y'all. I just had a DM from somebody who owns a construction company. So hopefully they will come in the live and we can talk about it here, because they were saying, I guess basically their income has been doubled. Okay. And I responded and I said, well, that probably means your bank balance is wrong too. Okay. So this is such a common issue I see that I am teaching a class about it, okay? Because there actually are so many people experiencing this issue in QuickBooks Online. So I was like, okay, I gotta teach a class about this so I can reach the people. Let me get my light a little bit better over here. Okay. So, we're talking about QuickBooks Online. I am teaching this class coming up next week on Monday, August 11th, for those of you whose bank balance is wrong in QuickBooks Online. Okay, so let's go ahead and tap the screen, get this live shared out. Come on in, everybody. Welcome in. Everybody make sure you are tapping the screen as soon as you come in, and also grabbing your daily heart me. Okay, that daily heart me does get you 45 engagement points. And that is the first thing that we do when we come in the room, as we all know. The first thing that we do in any live room, first thing in the morning, that is the strategy to build up our engagement, to increase our engagement with the algorithm, to show the algorithm, hey, we're a real person, we're here to engage, we are quality engagers. Okay, so that is why we do that. And yeah, so hopefully the person that just DM'd me will come in the room, because we can actually talk about exactly what's going on with their QuickBooks. Their income has been doubled apparently. They pulled their reports for their construction company for 2024, and they're seeing double the income that they actually made. And I responded and I was like, listen, I know exactly what you're dealing with, because I probably can also bet that your bank balance is wrong in QuickBooks too. So that is the first indicator to me that something is going wrong, that we have a specific issue in QuickBooks Online. As I look at your bank balance in QuickBooks, and we're seeing, you know, if we have done all of our transaction data entry, if we've accepted all of our QuickBooks transactions, and we're looking at our bank balance and it is way off from the actual bank balance, the actual money sitting in our account, then we know that we are having this specific issue. Okay, so that is the first indicator. Number one, your bank balance is wrong in QuickBooks Online. The second indicator that we're having this issue is that you look at your reports, your profit and loss, and you see your income has been doubled, right? So if you're a QuickBooks Online user, go ahead and tap in. I want to see everybody tapping on that screen. Good morning, Lindsay. Welcome in. Thank you for being here. Tap on that screen, folks. We're talking about QuickBooks Online. Good morning, Leah. Welcome in. Thank you for joining me. Hi, Iris Calderon. Welcome. Thank you for being here. Make sure that we are tapping that screen, y'all. Good morning, CP. Welcome. Thank you for joining, Savannah. Thank you for... Lindsay, were you the one that just messaged me that I responded to? I forgot to make a note of your name. 42427. Thank you for being here. Thanks, Iris. Okay, great. Lindsay, I was just saying a minute ago, I was like, I hope they come into the live so that we can actually talk, because I was having, like, I'm doing my live, but I just saw your message and I was like, oh, let me get in. Let me make sure I respond to them, but then also hoping that you would come on live, because this is what we're talking about, okay? If you saw my message, it's because I know exactly what what problem you're experiencing, what's going on. because I bet that your bank balance is wrong in QuickBooks Online too. And listen, you do not have to share any information on the live. If you just want to send me the DM, I will see it whenever I get off of the live too. So I'm not saying that you need to tell me anything in the live that you don't want to share publicly, but I am doing my live talking about QuickBooks Online, talking about when your income has been doubled on your reports, your bank balance is wrong, okay? I'm trying to figure out QuickBooks Online Accountant, trying to learn shortcuts, if any. Iris, yes, I do have the Bookkeeping Foundation Kit, Iris. If you've been on my lives before, you've for sure heard me talking about this. Thank you so much for the follow. So you're new to QuickBooks. This company you started working for wants you to fix it. Listen, Lindsay, this class that I'm teaching next Monday, the icon that you see on the screen, it says Fix Your QuickBooks Bank Balance. This class is coming up next Monday, Lindsay. So this is what I was going to tell you about when you came on or respond to you in the DMs. This class is coming up on Monday. It's a $57 registration fee. And this is where I'm going to teach you why your income's wrong, why the bank balance is wrong, and how to go back and fix those issues. Because if this is happening in 2024, we definitely need to get that fixed up so that they can file their taxes. Iris, this is the first time you're seeing me. You've just followed. Thank you so much for the follow, friend, and thank you for tapping the screen. Lindsay, I'm looking forward to seeing you on Monday. Lindsay, the class is going to be hosted on Zoom. So, Lindsay, you're going to click on my profile picture and you're going to go to my link tree. Okay, this class, the registration link is in my link tree. Okay, you're going to see this icon. It is the $57 option. Okay, so I want you to get registered for that class for sure, so that you can watch the replays from the previous classes. You'll attend the class live on Monday. We do have a Q&A portion at the end of the class on Monday. But I'm going to show you exactly what's going on, what's wrong, and how to fix it, okay? Because, Lindsay, from what you told me, I'm pretty sure that you're experiencing this issue. The income being doubled is a big indicator of that. The bank balance being wrong. I bet the expenses may be messed up as well. But that class is for folks that are already using QuickBooks Online, that are noticing that their bank balance is wrong, that are noticing that their income is wrong in QuickBooks Online, okay? So this is the icon on the screen right here. This is what it looks like, but you're not going to get there if you tap the icon. You have to tap on my profile picture and go to my bio. My link tree has the icon that looks exactly like what you're seeing on the screen right now. You're going to tap that icon to get registered for the class, okay? It's a $57 class registration fee. That is lifetime access to the classroom, okay? So Iris, let's also talk about the Bookkeeping Foundation Kit, because when it comes to learning how to do bookkeeping for other businesses, you know, if you're doing that for your work, if you want to be self-employed as a bookkeeper, I walk you through setting up a new QuickBooks Online company. I walk you through how I do bookkeeping. I give you my best tips, tricks, troubleshooting steps, the secrets or whatever you want to call them for QuickBooks Online is in the Bookkeeping Foundation Kit, okay? The Bookkeeping Foundation Kit also linked in my profile. You're going to see it right next to this class, okay? The Bookkeeping Foundation Kit is $84.99. You'll get this spiral bound workbook. You'll also get lifetime access to the digital course. All of my courses and classes are hosted inside my community, okay? So you're going to see this class coming up on Monday. You will see the Bookkeeping Foundation Kit course in there as well. Everything's hosted inside my community. So I just have the different options for the different people that are having different issues in QuickBooks Online. Because nothing can be simple and easy in this life now. Nothing in this life can be simple and easy. And nothing in QuickBooks Online gets to be easy either, unfortunately. Okay, thank you, Maddie, for liking the live. Appreciate y'all hanging out with me this morning. Hey, by the way, check out my mug. It has all of the kind of Excel spreadsheet shortcuts, like the keyboard shortcuts for Excel. I actually bought this mug for my husband, but I mean, we just drink out of all the coffee mugs because he's a software developer. So every time I get him a coffee mug, it's like some sort of coding joke or, you know, and he loves it, honestly. Yasmin, welcome. Thank you so much for the follow, friend. Appreciate you being here. Let's talk some more about the class coming up on Monday, August 11th. I'm teaching that class at 6 p.m. That's Central Time. I am in Louisiana, so you need to adjust for your time zone. It is a live class on Zoom, okay? If I'm teaching that class on Zoom, I'm going to show you in QuickBooks Online what is happening that's causing your bank balance in QuickBooks to be wrong, okay? My QuickBooks Online users, if you are invoicing people in QuickBooks Online and you're looking at your bank account balance in QuickBooks and you're like, this is completely wrong. If you're pulling your reports like Lindsay said, Lindsay pulled her reports and said, uh-oh, this is not looking correct, and she messaged me immediately, and it's probably because of this issue. Okay, let's talk about the 3 things that you're going to look for to know if you are experiencing this issue in QuickBooks Online, okay? The number one thing, you can see it right there on the icon on the screen, it's that your bank balance needs to be fixed. It's that you have your bank accounts connected into QuickBooks Online. Your bank is importing transactions regularly to QuickBooks Online, and your bank balance is wrong, okay? If you're logging into QuickBooks and you are seeing that your bank account is way off in QuickBooks from what's actually sitting in your bank account, you probably just log in right out and you're like, I'm going to deal with this. I don't have time today. I don't know what's going on. I don't want to deal with this. I'm just going to log out, right? This is the class that you need to get registered for, okay? So that's the number one thing that we look for to see if you're having this issue. Okay, I check your bank balance in QuickBooks, especially if it's connected, obviously, but the people that are having this issue in QuickBooks, it is when their bank account is connected. Now, listen, okay? Everybody take a seat, take a beat, take a seat, as White Woman Whisperer says. I am not saying that you should not connect your bank account to QuickBooks. I have my bank accounts connected to QuickBooks. I want all my clients to connect their bank account in QuickBooks, okay? I do, because it's a great way to automate the data entry part of your bookkeeping. We need to get your transactions into QuickBooks one way or another, right? The first step of bookkeeping is data entry, getting your transaction data into your bookkeeping system, okay? Diane says, I want to learn QuickBooks, but I don't know English. ¿Hablas español? Diane? What language are you trying to speak? Okay. I was like, I'm not fluent in Spanish, but I know a little bit of Spanish. I do not teach my classes in Spanish. Okay. See, your English, un poquito, mi español, un poquito. Okay. So we could have a conversation in Spanish. I would know how to get around Mexico or any other Spanish-speaking country without getting into too much trouble. You know what I mean? I know that much Spanish to find the bathroom, order a coffee, like, you know. Okay, you want to learn English? Listen, I mean, maybe the videos in my community where I have the QuickBooks tutorials, maybe watching the videos would be a way for you to learn English. I'm not saying that that's what it's there for, but, you know, it might help. It might help you improve your English. Just saying. I tried to connect the credit cards to QuickBooks, but it was a mess, so I stopped doing that. Yes. Okay, let's talk about it. I'm going to go ahead and highlight your comment because this is what we're talking about today. I'm not telling y'all don't connect your bank accounts and credit cards. I want you to. I want you to connect your bank accounts and credit cards, okay? But Tired of It says that they tried to connect it, but it was a mess, especially when it comes to your credit cards and your checking account and not matching up those credit card payments from your checking in QuickBooks, okay? So this is one of the things that I will be covering in the class. So the icon that you see on the screen right now, Mikkel says, I'm signing up for your class next week. I'm so excited. Perfect, Mikkel. That class is coming up August 11th. That's next Monday. It is being taught on Zoom, okay? It is not being taught on TikTok. You do have to go register for the class at the link in my profile. You won't be able to tap this icon and go there. You have to tap on my profile picture and go to my bio and go to my link tree, okay? So the class I'm teaching Monday, August 11th, that's next Monday. It is being taught at 6 p.m. Central Time, okay? I'm in Louisiana, so it is at 6 p.m. Central Time, Louisiana time, U.S. Chicago time. Thank you so much for the follow. I want everybody to double check their time zone, okay? So if you are on Eastern time, that is 7 p.m. If you are on Mountain time, that is 5 p.m. And if you are on Pacific time, that is 4 p.m., okay? This class is next Monday. I'm teaching it live on Zoom, okay? It is not a pre-recorded class. It is not being taught on TikTok. I will not have it posted or streamed on TikTok, okay? It is hosted on Zoom. So you need to tap my profile picture and go to the link in my bio. Okay, you're gonna see this icon, so make a note. It says fix your QuickBooks bank balance on the icon. It looks exactly like this. The class registration fee, thank you Maria for the follow, is $57 for the class registration, okay? That gets you access to the Zoom call, that gets you access to the Q&A time at the end of the class, that gets you access to the classroom for life, okay? So $57 registration fee for the class. If you're logging into QuickBooks and you see that your bank account balance in QuickBooks is really wrong, it is way off from what's actually sitting in your bank account, then you need to sign up for this class, okay? Number one, bank account is wrong. Just like the viewer said a couple of minutes ago, their credit cards are a mess whenever they tried to connect their credit cards to QuickBooks Online. I'm going to show you the proper way to connect those and how to match up those payments, okay? So when you pay your credit card from your checking account, you have to tell QuickBooks that. You have to tell QuickBooks this payment in my checking account is going to this credit card. And then on the credit card side, you have to match that payment instead of adding a new payment. If we do that, if we're not matching things, we end up doubling, and we just keep adding transactions on both accounts rather than matching those transactions to each other, okay? So I'm going to show you the way that I like to do that. I do not like to use the add credit card payment option in the bank feed. I know that there is like an option to record a credit card payment. I don't like using that option. I like to use the transfer option whenever I'm matching credit card payments, okay? But we just got to be careful. There's a couple of things to look out for, but like that user said a couple of minutes ago, it can get out of hand pretty quickly, okay? This is why I developed this class. I teach it every other month, by the way, okay? So the next class is coming up on Monday. That's August 11th. Again, the time for the class is 6 p.m. Central. It is not on TikTok. It will be hosted inside my community, which is linked in my profile, okay? So does anybody have questions about that? Let's move on to the second thing that we look for when we know that something's going on in your QuickBooks. The first thing is your bank balance being wrong. Let's move on to number two. The second thing we look for to know if we're having this issue in QuickBooks Online is found in your financial reports, your profit and loss statement, right? Thank you so much for the follow, Chetty. Look at your profit and loss report. Look at your P&L. And does it show that your income is way more than what you actually collected from your customers? If you're looking at your P&L and you see your income has been doubled significantly, you're probably doing this issue wrong in QuickBooks, and this is why I developed this class, okay? So the first thing we look for, bank balance is wrong. Second thing we look for, your income is wrong, right? If you look at your P&L, like Lindsay said a minute ago, and we're seeing services and then we're seeing sales, we're like, we're a service-based company. We don't have sales. We don't sell products, right? If we're seeing services and then we're seeing sales, and that number has basically almost been doubled, then we're doing this wrong, okay? So that's the second thing we look for. We look at your income on your P&L and we see, okay, I know that if I take this to my tax preparer at the end of the year to do my taxes, and I have overstated my income, I have doubled my income, I could end up paying a lot more in taxes than I legally owe. And nobody wants to do that, okay? Nobody needs to pay more taxes than they legally owe. The government will not accept your money. You can't just send extra money to the government. They just send you a refund. But it needs to be reported correctly, right? So that's the second thing. Looking at your income. Thank you, Dee Dee, for the follow. We look at your income. Is it wrong? Is it doubled? And then what do? The third thing that I look for is seeing what's going on with your bank rules, babe. Okay? If you have your bank accounts and credit cards connected, you're probably setting up bank rules all the time, right? QuickBooks actually, thank you, Lindsay. You just signed up for Monday. Excellent. I can't wait to see you. Lindsay, also, there are replays inside the community for the prior classes that I've taught. So guess what? You can watch those replays before Monday's class. I'm teaching pretty much the same material in each class, but there were questions from the prior classes that I just add into the next class, right? I'm making sure that, like, as we go, you and I are kind of developing the class together, okay? So as people come in, as they have questions, I just add that into the next class presentation. So you have some replays that you can watch over the weekend. You don't have to. We're going to cover all of it live in Monday's class, okay? So friends, if you have your bank account connected in QuickBooks, if you have your credit cards connected in QuickBooks, and you are accepting those transactions that have been imported, you're probably being prompted by QuickBooks to set up bank rules, okay? Your bank rules allow us to do a little bit of automation for the data entry. We love QuickBooks automations, but we love when it's set up correctly. And here's the thing that you're doing with your bank rules that is causing your bank balance to be wrong, it's causing your income to be off, is you set up those bank rules to be auto-added to your QuickBooks. You're telling QuickBooks, go ahead and auto-add any transaction that meets this rule. And if you're like, well, I don't think I have any auto-add rules, I promise you probably do. If you go to your QuickBooks Online right now and you log in and you go to your Rules tab, it is one of the tabs under your transactions. If you're in your bank feed, you're going to see the Rules tab right above your bank feed. If you go to your Rules tab, you're probably going to see that all of your bank rules are set to auto-add, okay? And this is a big reason that your numbers are wrong. Your bank balance is wrong, your income is wrong, probably your expenses are wrong too, right? So bank rules should not be set to automatically add to your QuickBooks. Let's turn on bank rules. Let's have bank rules set up to help us out. Bank rules allow us to automate a lot of the procedures in QuickBooks. It allows us to automate a lot of the data entry. But we do not allow QuickBooks to add transactions to our bookkeeping without us seeing them first, without us double checking QuickBooks and saying, yes, that is categorized correctly, go ahead and add it. I have bank rules set up in my QuickBooks. I have bank rules set up in all of my QuickBooks clients. Good morning, Haley, how are you? I love the bank rules, okay? We don't allow QuickBooks to auto-add anything. And Haley, if you have been working through the Bookkeeping Foundation Kit already, you've probably gotten to that part. I talk about bank rules. Hold on just a second. Let me find. Yeah. Okay. So I talk about bank rules starting on page 14 of the Bookkeeping Foundation Kit. It's in part 2 of the kit where I teach you how to set up bank rules. But we talk about how we do not set up bank rules to auto add. We have to turn off the auto add feature because of course it's gonna be set to auto add by default. So it is something that you probably have set up and you need to go in and turn off. I'm going to show you how to do that in the class, but it's very simple and easy. You can bulk turn off the auto add feature for all of your bank rules right now if you wanted to. Just select all your bank rules and choose the option to turn off auto add. I love bank rules. I love having them set up, but let's set them up correctly because otherwise QuickBooks is just working in the background, auto adding your transactions, and you don't have any say in that. Once the rule is set up, it just goes, right? And that is causing our bank balance to be wrong. It's causing our income to be wrong. It's causing all of our expenses, all of our numbers to be wrong in QuickBooks. So that's the third thing that I look at. So let's do a little recap, friends. Number one thing that I look at to see if something's happening in your QuickBooks, look at that bank balance. I'm looking at your bank account in QuickBooks and I'm seeing what is the bank account in QuickBooks versus what's actually in your bank account in real life. Thank you, Alicia. Is there a huge discrepancy between your QuickBooks bank balance and your actual real life money sitting in your account, right? If there's a huge difference, that's the first thing that we look for. And then I know, we're having some issues, right? So that's number one, step number one. That is the number one indicator that something is wrong is your bank balance being wrong, which is why I named the class that, because it's just the most common thing that's happening. Okay. So this class is what I'm teaching next Monday. This icon that you see on the screen is exactly what the class icon looks like. But you're not going to get to that class by tapping right here. You're going to actually tap on my profile picture. Thank you so much for the follow, Alicia. Welcome in. You're going to tap on my profile picture and go to my bio where I have the link to all of my classes, okay? All of my classes, courses, community videos are hosted inside my community, okay? So when you tap on my profile picture and go to my bio, you're going to see this exact icon in my shop, okay? It's a $57 class registration fee. It's called the Fix Your QuickBooks Bank Balance class, and that's exactly what we're doing. Number one thing that I see wrong in people's QuickBooks is their bank balance, okay? So that's the first thing that I look for. If I have a new client come to me, a bookkeeping client, or if I'm doing a cleanup job in QuickBooks for somebody, that's the first thing I look at. How off is their bank account? Excuse me. How off is their bank account? That's number one thing that I look for. Number two, and we're just doing a recap right now. Number two thing that I look for is on their profit and loss statement, on their P&L. I look at their P&L and I see, okay, what's going on with this income? Am I seeing their income categorized in a different, like, do they have income categories for their business? Does it all just go into one category? But a big red flag is if I see sales of product income, right? Or just sales or just services. If I'm looking at your profit and loss and I see sales of product income, I see services, and if I drill down and I'm looking at your income transactions and I see a bunch of deposits recorded as sales of product income, oh, we're in big trouble, right? So that's the second thing that I look at. I look at your income on your profit and loss statement. I look at your income to see what kind of categories we have set up. And then usually the business owner will be able to tell me if their income has been doubled. Like, y'all know how much money you're making, okay? You know how much money you're depositing to your bank account every day, every week. So if you look at your P&L and you're telling me, my income has been doubled, we're definitely having a problem, okay? So So income on the profit and loss statement is the second thing that I look for. Third thing that I look for, number 3, is the bank rules, which I just talked about a minute ago. If you have bank rules set up to automatically add to your QuickBooks, we're having this issue, okay? So that's number 3. I go into anybody's QuickBooks, that's what I'm looking at first. I look at their bank balance. How off from the actual bank account are we in QuickBooks? If we're off by a lot, we got a problem. Number 2 is I look at their P&L. I look at their income and I say, okay, is the business owner telling me that this has been doubled or this is much higher than what they actually made in revenue? Then I know we're having this issue. I look at their bank rules list, which is under your transactions tab in QuickBooks. So where you're looking at your bank accounts and credit cards, importing into QuickBooks, you're going to see your rules tab at the top of the screen. If your bank rules are all set to auto add, then we got a problem. Okay, so those are the 3 things that I look for, and that's pretty much what we're going to cover in this QuickBooks class on Monday. Okay, so the class is called Fix Your QuickBooks Bank Balance. By the way, y'all, this class is being taught on Zoom. Okay, it is not being taught on TikTok, and you do need to register in advance to get access to the call. It is being taught on Zoom, so in order to get the link for the class, you need to pre-register, okay? And registration is linked in my profile. You're going to tap on my profile picture right up here and go to my bio and click on that link tree. You'll see this icon. It says Fix Your QuickBooks Bank Balance. It looks exactly like the icon you're seeing on the screen right here. And you're going to get registered. Class registration fee is $57, okay? That's lifetime classroom access, by the way. And as I was just telling Lindsay a minute ago, is you have access to this class. I teach it every other month. So once you pay, you have access to the class forever. You have access to the previous replays. I've taught this class twice already, so you already have 2 class replays to watch. And then, of course, you get to join me live on Monday. It's being taught at 6 p.m. Central. Make sure you check your time zone before, okay? The class is at 6 p.m. Central, so if you're in a different time zone from me, you need to make sure that you adjust for your time zone so you can come on live, okay? We're also going to have a Q&A portion at the end of the class, just to make sure there are no questions, but there's always questions, which is fine. And I stay on as long as I need to to answer everybody's questions. So that class is on Monday, and registration is linked in my profile. Let's talk about, so we've gone over the 3 things that I look for to know if we're having this issue. Let's talk about the 3 things that you're doing in QuickBooks that is causing all these problems, okay? Because it's not just one thing, of course. It's never just one thing, right? There are 3 things that you're doing. Obviously, number 1 is having those bank rules set up to automatically add to your QuickBooks. Thank you so much, Vivian. Welcome. Thanks for liking the live. The 3 things you're doing, number 1, bank rules set to auto add. We've talked about that already, okay? So that's the first thing that we address in the class because it's the easiest thing to do. And once we turn off your auto add bank rules, like, you're good to go, but we do have to work through the other things as well. Bank rules are number 1. Make sure that you are not having any bank rules auto adding transactions for you, automatically adding to your QuickBooks. We don't want that. Number 2, thing that you're doing wrong. Those of you that are invoicing clients and customers in QuickBooks Online, you're not receiving payments correctly for those invoices, okay? So if you are invoicing your clients and customers and they pay you through QuickBooks, you're fine. But for those of you that are invoicing clients and customers and then they pay you with a check or cash or whatever, if you are taking payments from clients and customers any other way than QuickBooks payments, you're not marking your invoices paid correctly. There is a certain way that we need to mark invoices as paid in QuickBooks to make sure that, number 1, our income is being recorded correctly, and number 2, that our bank account stays in balance. Okay? I'm going to go more into detail on the class. It's probably better for me to do that in the class because it can be a little confusing. There's a certain account that we use called undeposited funds. It might be called payments to deposit in your QuickBooks Online company. It's called one of either of those things. But when we receive payments from, hi Marissa, welcome back, how are you? When we receive payments from our clients and customers, we have to mark our invoices paid in QuickBooks using that undeposited funds account correctly. Okay, so I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. Thank you for liking the live, Melissa. Hi, Tax Dad. Good morning. Welcome in. We're talking about the QuickBooks Online class that I'm teaching. It's Friday Eve. Woohoo! Yes, we love it. Yeah, we have to mark our invoices paid correctly in QuickBooks Online. Otherwise, we can wind up with our bank balance being wrong or income being doubled, okay? What you're probably doing is receiving the payment, but the payment's just being put directly into the checking account in QuickBooks. And then QuickBooks has probably set up a bank rule for you to auto-add any of your deposits as income. So if you're receiving payments in QuickBooks, you tell QuickBooks this invoice has been paid, that's income. And then the bank deposit comes through and QuickBooks says, well, that's income too, right? Of course it is. But instead of matching that payment with the deposit, instead of matching those two together, you've created two income transactions, right? And that's why your income is being doubled, okay? Once I explain it, it's like, oh, well, that seems obvious. But I promise everybody's doing this, okay? This is why I have to teach a class about it, okay? There is literally a demand for this because y'all are all doing it wrong. No shame, no judgment. I'm so glad that makes sense, Lindsay. No shame, no judgment. Everybody's doing this, okay? So that's why I'm here. This is my job security, okay? Double revenue booking. Auditors love to look for that. Lost botanist. Yes, when I am looking at a new QuickBooks Online company or I have a new client come to me, if I'm doing a cleanup job, if they're becoming a monthly client, if we're doing a training together, these are the indicators. The bank balance is wrong. Thank you so much for the follow, Kathy. The bank balance is wrong. The income has been doubled, right? Yeah, that's exactly what we're looking for, and this is exactly what's happening. If you're marking an invoice as paid and QuickBooks automatically puts it into the checking account for you unless you tell it otherwise. We have an invoice that's been paid. Okay, that's income. And then when the bank deposit comes through, you've probably accidentally set up an auto add bank rule for our deposit. So we got sales of product income on the deposit. We've got our actual income on the invoice. And so we have double revenue. Instead of telling QuickBooks, hey, that deposit is matching to that invoice that was paid, or it's matching to that payment that was received. So we end up with double rather than just matching those transactions, okay? So this is like a whole system that we have to go through. That's why I developed the class. That's why I teach the class in the format that I do, in the curriculum that I do, because I'm like, we gotta turn off those auto add bank rules first, okay? Because that is probably causing us a lot of issues. Turn them off. And then we learn how to record our payments correctly. I'm going to show you how to use invoices. I'm going to show you how to use sales receipts. And here's the thing. You've probably done this a lot. Like Lindsay was saying, if you've got last year and you're looking at last year and last year's wrong, and you're probably like, shit, now I got to go back and fix all of those. Yes. But I will show you the way that I do it that makes it go a little bit quicker. Okay. Y'all, I've been doing this for 11 years. I promise there's no shame. There's no judgment. Everybody's doing this wrong. And when I do a cleanup job, as I do multiple times throughout the year, I just have my little system that I do. Because I don't want to spend a lot of time on this either, okay? I don't want to be taking up all my time, my whole life, doing this. So I'm like, let's get it in there. Let's get it cleaned up. I have my system that I do in the order that I do it for a reason, so that we can, get it done. So I'm going to teach you what that system is in the class. We're going to go through and learn. Yes, I don't want to spend my whole life in QuickBooks Online. Contrary to what some of y'all believe, I don't want to spend my whole life in QuickBooks Online. Okay? Home goods are us. Welcome in. Thanks for being here. Y'all, let's make sure that we are tapping on that screen. Help support the live. Go ahead and tap the screen. And friends, don't forget to get your daily heart me before you leave the live today. Okay, that daily heart me is in that orange heart up top. That gets you 45 engagement points for your TikTok algorithm. Okay, so make sure you get your daily heart me before you leave the live. Okay, so let's see, where were we? Number 1, bank rules. Vivian, thank you so much for the follow. Number 2 is not receiving payments correctly. So we got to figure out how to do that. We got to learn how to use that undeposited funds account. Like I said, it's probably called payments to deposit. Excuse me, if you have a newer QuickBooks Online company. Thank you for tapping the screen, Kathy. So we got to learn how to use undeposited funds. We got to learn how to receive payments correctly in QuickBooks. I'm going to teach you how to do invoices, how to receive payments, how to do sales receipts, and how to properly record your deposits, how to properly match your bank deposits so that you're not doubling your income. Okay? So that's the second thing that we look for. The third thing, and this is a super sneaky thing that didn't come up until the second time I taught this class. Okay, awesome. I'll sign up for your class. Perfect. Thank you so much, Marissa. Thank you for the tiny dino. The third thing is the sneaky thing, and that is sometimes folks are uploading their receipts to QuickBooks. You have a receipts tab in QuickBooks where you can drag and drop files. So if you have a PDF invoice for one of your vendors, you can drag and drop it into QuickBooks. There's also an email address that every QuickBooks Online company has that's specific to them. And you can email receipts to that email address and QuickBooks will import it, right? So we have the receipts that are being uploaded and not matched to your transactions. QuickBooks is adding the receipt from the invoice. I'm sorry, ignore that. QuickBooks is adding the expense from the receipts you uploaded and not matching to the bank transactions, not matching those receipts. So we have double expenses sometimes when we're uploading receipts. Anna says, how do you avoid double income? Profit and loss shows income and accounts receivable. Oh, that's interesting. The accounts receivable should not be on your profit and loss statement. The accounts receivable shows up on your balance sheet. And if you are invoicing clients and not marking those invoices as paid, your accounts receivable balance will be super high, right? It'll be showing like all these unpaid invoices. And then if you are accepting bank deposits when your bank transactions import, if you're accepting your bank deposits as income, you've doubled your income because we have invoices as income and then we have deposits being recorded as income rather than the deposits being matched to paid invoices. Okay, Elizabeth, thank you so much for the follow. Yeah, Lindsay. Okay, so if y'all are seeing accounts receivable on your profit and loss, that's a new one. That's a new one for me, honestly. Okay, because accounts receivable is a default account that QuickBooks sets up. We're a mess. Listen, friend, okay, no judgment, but that honestly, haven't seen that one before, okay? It only does that for automatic reoccurring payments. Oh, interesting. Okay. We're going to have to look at that, friend. My client has federal tax expense and retained earnings. Please stop with this. This is crazy. Listen, y'all. I have great job security because of fuck-ass QuickBooks Online. And y'all, no day is boring for me. I'm always coming across these new clients and I'm just like, oh, there are limitless ways that QuickBooks Online can be messed up. Listen, I didn't work for this company last year. Wasn't me. Lindsay's like, and not me, y'all. It wasn't me. Lindsay's like, it was somebody else. I didn't do that. I'm just having to clean it up, okay? Listen, I understand. I feel you, friend. solidarity with you, Lindsay. Because I've seen some messes. Helen, thank you so much for the follow. I ended up just creating financials in Excel to get it ready for the tax return. Tax Dad said, you know what? Screw QuickBooks Online. I'm doing this myself. Tax Dad's like, actually, I can't even with you people. Y'all are cracking me up today. Oh my gosh, y'all are so funny. Oh, Tax Dad, you make me laugh, friend. And y'all, by the way, I don't do taxes, so Tax Dad, I'm gonna put him up on the highlight right here, because Tax Dad's videos are hilarious, okay? Like, Tax Dad is like, can you deduct your cat food? And I'm like, listen, Tax Dad, I got 2 cats and they're both on prescription food. I wish I could fucking deduct their cat food because it costs so much money. Okay, it's an amendment because it's an S Corp and the prior CPA filed it as a sole proprietor. Oh, well. So not only do you have to do the S Corp return, but then you have to go amend their personal return. Super fun, friend. Love that for you. But y'all, make sure that you're connecting with Tax Dad, if not just to have a laugh anytime you see his video. Last night's video talked about selling tap water from a bathtub. Tax Dad, please, I can't. What are you talking about, Tax Dad? And y'all, like, his videos, like, are legit. Like, he's actually talking about it, but, like, the things that he's talking about, I'm like, he's right, but you're a very creative, friend, and I just love that. So thank you for sharing. Lindsay said, my boss is here. I'll be back. Lindsay's boss, if you're listening, she's working hard over here. Okay, why don't you go ahead and give her a raise because she's working so hard. Okay. Get back to work, young lady. Duck and cover. Lindsay's like, I'm putting you on mute. Anyways. Y'all crack me up. Where were we? Okay, so we're talking about bank rules, auto adding, doubled income because you are not marking invoices paid correctly. And number 3 is uploading your receipts and then not matching them to your transactions. So you are essentially doubling your expense transactions. If I go to Walmart and I spend $50 and I upload the receipt to QuickBooks, QuickBooks adds that $50 transaction for Walmart, and then, you know, you might also see the $50 transaction in the bank feed and you add that too. So now you got $100 for Walmart in your QuickBooks, right? And that's not what we want. We want to match those 2 transactions. FS Tax LLC. Oh God, you never know what people come up with. As a tax professional, you get crazies. Listen, everybody's got to do a tax return, right? If you're making money, you got to file taxes. But people come up with very creative things. I had a tax client one time that was a security professional, like private security. And they were like, here's the receipt for my Weber grill. And I was like, thanks for the paperwork, but... And listen, I tell my clients, I would rather you give me more information, more paperwork than what I actually need, rather than not, like, I'm having to ask you for the paperwork. But you're not deducting your Weber grill for your private security business. Sorry. No. It's like they weren't even having like barbecues with their clients and stuff. Like, just, I was like, okay, thanks for the receipt, but I don't need that. That's not gonna, first of all, that's not gonna help you out like at all, but second of all, It's not an ordinary or necessary business expense for you. And I think you know that too, don't you? They just slid it in there. You know, they put the receipt, they like stack it in there. They're like, here's all my receipts. Don't pay too close attention. Marissa, what do I do after purchasing? I only see a link in my email to buy again. That's weird. What do you mean? Let me look real quick. Blah, blah, blah. So you should have the link to the community. Okay. So I see you, Marissa. I see you, Lindsay. So Marissa, anytime you log into the community, you're going to have access to whatever you've purchased. So you're going to see the Fix Your Bank Balance class in the community. And since you've already purchased it, you'll have access to the replays in there. You'll be able to RSVP for Monday's class. There is a Q&A chat if you want to ask some questions in there or introduce yourself. Can you forward me, or can you hit reply to the email that you got? And Ray trying to prove double income is real. So my main problem is now I'm seeing 2023 transactions posted that were initially created in 2025. Listen, tax dad, sometimes I get the dates wrong. And it just happens. Okay, yeah, Marissa, just like reply to that email or forward it to my email. If you reply, it should just come directly to my inbox so I can see what the heck you're being sent. Because sometimes, you know, my automations for like, oh, if somebody purchases the class, they should get this email, right? So we just need to see that, like, my systems are set up correctly. When I run payroll for 3 employees, QuickBooks automatically dates it to Friday. I don't want it to do that. Okay, so if you have QuickBooks Online Payroll, there is a pay schedule that is set up. So let's see if I can give you instructions on where to go, because when you set up a pay schedule, it just defaults to that every time you go in to run payroll. So you might need to adjust your pay schedule, friend. Thank you so much for sharing the live. Appreciate y'all. Let me tell you where to go. So if you're using QuickBooks Online, by the way, if you're using QuickBooks Desktop, you need to tell me that so I can give you the different directions. Thank you so much for the follow, Edith. Thank you, Tax Staff, for sharing the live. Okay. All right. Okay, so, Okay, so you're in QuickBooks Online, great. When you go to your employees tab, like if you were gonna go if you're gonna go run payroll. Thank you, Monica, for following me. Okay, just making sure I'm not missing any. Okay, I'm gonna turn you around. Boop, boop. Hello. Okay, Marissa, I got you. Perfect. Flip camera. Okay, so when you go into your QuickBooks and you go to your employees tab where you run payroll, you're going to click on edit payroll items, and it shows you that, like, any pay types that you have set up, deductions, and then the pay schedules. Okay, so there's going to be pay schedules that you can edit in here. So if you pay your employees on Wednesdays, you will just edit your pay schedule so that it'll tell you like the next payday coming up. So that's under your, that's under your employees tab and under the edit payroll items setting, okay? So you can adjust your pay schedule to both like what pay period you cover. So if you're doing like Sunday to Saturday and then they get paid the following Wednesday, you set up your payroll schedule to show that Sunday to Saturday pay period, payday on Wednesdays. Okay. So that your pay schedules are in your, where you see your employee list. You're going to click on edit payroll items, and then you can adjust your pay schedules. You can also assign different employees to different pay schedules if that applies to you, but it doesn't sound like it applies to you. It sounds like you've got 3 employees probably on the same pay schedule. So you're going to adjust your pay schedule to what pay period you're covering, and then the next pay date. So if you do bi-weekly payroll, like every 2 weeks, you'd probably do Sunday to Saturday over 2 weeks, and then the pay date is the following week usually. So let me know if that helps, if that answers your question. Marissa, I'm glad we got you figured out. Okay. Okay. Okay, I don't see an email from you, so I think you got it figured out, which is great. Okay. Okay, perfect. We get paid randomly whenever we do work. It's a union. Gotcha. Okay, so you do have to set up a pay schedule. I think they require you to put everybody on a pay schedule, but when you go to run payroll, like if you go in and hit run payroll, and then you're like putting in everybody's hours and stuff, or commission, however they get paid, you can change the date for when the direct deposit goes through when you go to run payroll. All good. Kids start school this morning, so listening in and getting them up. Marissa, Godspeed. The kids going back to school, like I can't even imagine how crazy that must be. And I know that like everybody's doing that this time of year. And I know that usually I don't hear from my clients for the next month and a half. And then when the kids go back to school, that's when I start hearing from my clients again. They're like, I'm alive. So I know that back to school time is just crazy. So good luck with that. I don't have kids, so I don't have to deal with that, thank goodness. But anyways, so we talked about what to look for, like the things that I look for in your QuickBooks to know if something's wrong. I'm teaching folks on this class on Monday how to look for those things, how to fix them, how to do these things in QuickBooks Online correctly using bank rules, uploading receipts, matching transactions, matching deposits, all that. I'll try that. Thank you very much. Wish Intuit help was as good as you. Period. Exactly. This is why I say, join the community. By the way, I do have a free community membership, and that is linked in my profile. Because, nobody should be calling QuickBooks Online support, okay? Because they're not very supportive. All right. Maria, welcome in. Set up your free account in the community. If you have questions come up, I have a live Q&A call every month that I post the replays to. And the live Q&A call, I just take all the questions I get from like social media, from people who book trainings, from my clients when they email me questions. Thank you so much for the follow, Susanna. So I do one live Q&A a month, and the paid members of the community get to join the call live. The free members get the replay of the live Q&A, and there is an archive of those in there, and they're all indexed for you. So if you have a specific question, you can set up your free account in the community and hit the search bar and search for your topic that you have a question about, because chances are I've probably done a video on it before. I'm just saying. Okay. So there is a $7 a month community subscription, and there is a free membership for those of you that want to check out the live Q&A replays. I also have a weekly meetup for business owners, and I'm going to have to do a little puzzle now. puzzle time. Okay, we're back. I had to do a little puzzle. Whatchamacallit? Yeah, so set up your free account. There is a ton of videos in the free space. There's a chat in the free space. There is a weekly business owner meetup available to all members, including the free members. And then the $7 a month community subscription gets you an additional tutorial from me. I just posted the tutorial for August yesterday. So there's a brand new tutorial in there, plus the archive of all the monthly tutorials. $7 a month subscription gets you access to watch the monthly tutorial, to join my virtual office hours twice a month, to attend the live Q&A call with me. What else? You get a discount on this class whenever you purchase a community subscription. By the way, those of you that, thank you so much, Lisa, for joining in. By the way, those of you that just purchased this class, that just got registered for this class, you get a 30-day free trial in the paid community membership. So make sure you check that out and get your 30-day trial activated, because we're having office hours next week. Excuse me, we have office hours twice a month. So if you have joined this class, you get to set up your free trial inside the community and get access to the office hours. The tutorial that I posted yesterday was about how to do a mid-year review in your business. So check it out. Any other questions about QuickBooks Online? Hello, Jenny. Welcome in. How are you, friend? Jenny, let me know if you have questions about the Bookkeeping Foundation Kit, how that's going. Feel free to tap in. Maria, thank you. Welcome for joining. Thank you for joining. Welcome in. No, why can't I talk? Okay. So those of you whose bank balance is wrong in QuickBooks Online, if you are invoicing clients and customers in QuickBooks, you're probably not receiving payments correctly. You're probably not marking your invoices paid the right way. So I teach this class. It's called the Fix Your QuickBooks Bank Balance class. It is coming up next Monday. So get registered. It is being taught on Zoom. It is not being taught on TikTok, okay? So I will not, if you log into TikTok on Monday, you're not gonna see me, okay? This class is being taught on Zoom. The link to get registered is in my bio. You're gonna see this icon that has my little picture, and it says Fix Your QuickBooks Bank Balance. Class registration fee is $57. That is lifetime access to the classroom, okay? There's a chat in there. We have Q&A sessions after the class is over. We drop the replays of all the classes in there. So when you purchase and get registered right now, you'll have access to 2 class replays to go in and watch. And you'll get the link to join live on Monday. So class is being taught Monday, August 11th. That's this coming Monday at 6 p.m. Central Time. Okay, so if you're not in Central Time, you need to make sure, thank you so much, Courtney, for the daily heart me. You need to make sure you are adjusting for your time zone, okay? So I'm in Central Time. The class is being taught at 6 p.m. Central. If you are in a different time zone, make sure you make a note of what time zone you're in. When you log in and you purchase your registration, it should automatically adjust to your time zone and show you the time for your time zone. But if it doesn't, just make sure you know. Thank you, Ross, for getting your daily heart me. Make sure that you adjust for your time zone, okay? Good morning, Courtney. Ross, thank you so much for the tiny dinos. Thank you, friend. Appreciate y'all. Just loving up on the girl on the live this morning. How to do tip on cleaning business. I tried to turn on the tip in settings, but it's not working. That's interesting. Noon tea. You might need to set up a, hold on, let me see. Let me see if I can pull it up on my end and answer your question. Good morning, Mr. Ross. Okay, so if we are turning on tips in QuickBooks Online. Let me see. Let me see if I can answer your question. Tips. Okay. So, if you want to turn on tips, you do have to set up an account to track your tips to. I usually call it like a gratuity account, or you can just put it in your regular services account, your income. So I would probably call it consulting fees on mine. Sales form content. Okay, so you have to tell QuickBooks where to put your tips, and that is in your settings under the advanced tab. It'll ask you where you want the tips to be recorded. So you have to tell it where to put the tips, and then under your sales tab, sales form content. Okay, so then you have to go under your sales tab and you have to toggle on the button that says accept tips. So let's do that. Okay, I'm not going to turn it on mine because I don't accept tips. But you have to toggle on tips, and you have to go to the advanced tab and tell them where to record your tips income. So you would probably put it, if you're a cleaning service, I would probably just put it under cleaning services income. If you have employees and people are tipping your employees, you need to set up a gratuity tips paid in liability so that you pass those tips along to your employees on their paychecks. Monica says, I use my personal credit card for business. I get points. How would you show making payments to credit card? Thanks in advance. So when you have a personal credit card and you're using it for business, one thing I want y'all to do is to move towards using a credit card exclusively for business. So if you have personal transactions on it, I would see about maybe splitting that and using a different card for personal transactions. But if you have business expenses on it, we probably need to go ahead and get that connected in your QuickBooks. Like connect that credit card account. Because if there are business expenses on that card, we need to record those business expenses in your bookkeeping so that you can get those deductions. So connect the card, and that way, when you make a payment from your business account to that credit card, you're going to show QuickBooks that that was a payment to that card. Any personal transactions on that card need to be recorded as your owner's equity draw. That is the account that we use for all your personal transactions when you're a sole proprietor. Thank you, Mally, for the follow. So I would go ahead and get that card connected and try to use it exclusively for business as much as possible and not as much for personal. And then thank you, Dora, for liking the live and tapping the screen. Get it connected and then show when you see the credit card payments from your checking account, you're going to record that as that's a payment towards that credit card. Okay, does that answer your question? Any confusion about that? Any questions? Let me know. But that's how I would handle it. Anytime we have expenses on a card, yeah, anytime you have business expenses on your card, I would go ahead and get it connected so that you can track that balance and track the interest that you pay on the card if you're not paying it off every month, any credit card fees that you get charged, and then show those payments from your checking to that credit card. Yeah, and when we track things manually, there's like more room for error. When we have our credit cards connected, we do need to be reconciling those cards, but reconciling is how we check our math. Reconciling our credit card accounts is how we know we've got all of our transactions in there, that there's not anything that's been doubled, that we have gotten all of our business deductions in there. Credit card fees, credit card interest are both deductible business expenses. If the service is $95 but the check is $100, I turned on tip, but that does not appear in receipt payment. What should I do? Okay, so noon tea. If you have a, if you make an invoice for $95 and they pay you $100, I would, on the invoice, either adjust it to the service fee, adjust the service fee to be $100, or add a line item on the invoice. So you've got your $95 service. I would either add another line on the invoice for tips or gratuity and put the $5 amount on that line. You don't necessarily need to. Turning on tips in QuickBooks Online means that if people pay you through QuickBooks Online, they can add a tip. So you don't necessarily need to turn on the accept tips feature in QuickBooks Online unless people are paying you through QuickBooks Online. Like you email them an invoice from QuickBooks and they pay online for their invoice. So if they're writing you checks, I would either record a sales receipt for $100 for services, or if you invoiced them and they wrote you a check, I would go back to the original invoice and add that additional line item for tip, or just adjust the invoice to $100 for service fees. The accept tips feature in QuickBooks Online is for those of you that accept payments through QuickBooks electronically. Like people pay through QuickBooks with their credit card, or they do a bank transfer. Turning on the tips feature allows them to pay your invoice and add a tip if they want to at the time they are making their online payment. Okay, so does that make sense? So I don't think you need to turn on the tips feature if you're just accepting checks and cash. Then I would just record a sales receipt for how much you got paid for those services. Okay, good question though. So, friends, I do need to get some work done today at some point. So I'm going to log off in a couple of minutes, but I want to hang around and see if anybody has any other questions. One thing I want to make sure that y'all are doing is signing up for this class, okay? Okay, so that's for the employee tip. That's when you need to set up that gratuity liability account. So when people pay a tip in, it goes to a liability account rather than an income account for your business. Okay, so that's a little bit more of a complicated thing, Noon Tea. Because if you're doing QuickBooks Online payroll, there's a couple of things that we need to set up, like for your employees' paychecks. So I would recommend getting on a consultation with me, because we got to set up a liability account, we got to set up the payroll item for the tips and the gratuity. You're gonna have to do it has to be set up a certain way when you've got employees and you're accepting tips and you act as the pass-through for those tips, okay? So I would say get on a consultation with me for that, because it's a little more in depth than I can go into on a TikTok live. But great question, and that could be something that I include in the live Q&A for this month and go over how to set that up. So let me make a note of that. And I'll make sure to cover that in the live Q&A later this month. Any other questions about QuickBooks Online? Make sure y'all are signing up for this class. Elizabeth, there are pre-recorded courses, there are live classes that I teach, and then I do one-on-one trainings on QuickBooks Online. So it depends on what your needs are. So set up a payroll tips Okay, so I made a note. I'll do that. You're welcome. Noon tea, I'm going to do that question on how to set up the payroll tips thing in this month's live Q&A. So the live Q&As are going to be posted for the free members. So make sure you set up your free membership in my community. That is linked in my profile. When you tap on my profile picture, you're going to go to my bio and click on my link tree. Set up your free account, okay? By the way, Elizabeth, you want to be as good as me. Thank you, friend. You really know how to treat a lady. Set up your free account, Elizabeth, and check out this class. Woo! So this class is coming up on Monday. All of my classes and courses are hosted inside the community. The one-on-one training link is also in my profile, but everybody needs to set up their free account, okay? I promise you it's free. No payment information is necessary to set up your free membership. And from there, you can check out the classes that I offer, the courses that are in there. All of the videos that are archived in the free space are all of the live Q&As that I've done before. There's other resources and things available. You can connect with other business owners who are doing this work too. And yes, awesome. Okay, so set up your account. That link is in my profile. You can tap on my profile picture and tap on my link tree in my bio and set up your free account. Those of you whose bank balance and income are wrong in QuickBooks need to get signed up for this class, okay? This class I'm teaching live on Monday, this coming Monday, August 11th at 6 p.m. Central. Make sure you get registered for the class. It's a $57 class registration fee. I'm going to teach you why your bank balance is wrong, why your income is wrong, how to do these steps in QuickBooks correctly, and how to go back and fix the transactions that are causing your information to be wrong, okay? So this is the Fix Your QBO Bank Balance class. It's linked in my shop, in my link tree. You're gonna see this icon when you go to my link tree. You're gonna tap that icon. Okay, your income is wrong. You need to come to the class, babe. This class is happening this Monday, and it is when your income is wrong, your bank balance is wrong, your expenses are wrong, like your income's been doubled. We don't want that, right? So I teach this class specifically for those folks that are experiencing those exact issues, okay? So that class registration is linked in my profile. It's $57 registration fee. Elizabeth, set up your free account, babe. When you're ready to purchase the class, it will be taught again every other month, okay? But go ahead and set up your free account right now because I've got lots of Q&A and tutorial type content available for you to binge right now. But everybody else, get your registration set up for class on Monday. It is on Zoom. It is not on TikTok, okay? I want to make sure everybody knows that. You're going to get the Zoom link when you register, and it will not be on TikTok, okay? So any more questions? I am going to hop off here and get my workday started. So questions, comments, concerns, let me know. And I hope that I see all of you in the community expeditiously. All right, friends. I'm not seeing any more questions come through. Thank you for hanging out with me on live today. Thanks for asking all of your amazing questions. This was a really great live. I go live every weekday, but not necessarily at a specific time. Okay, tomorrow I will probably go live in the afternoon, so maybe about 3 or 4 p.m. Central. Make sure you're following me and setting up your free account in my community. Okay, the community is not hosted on TikTok. Okay. Kathy, make sure you set up your free account. So you can catch me here on TikTok live every weekday, but I've got so many more videos and posts and prompts and ways for you to connect with me and other business owners who are my clients inside the community. Okay, so tap on my profile picture. Awesome. Thank you. I'll see you there. Yep, everybody tap on my profile picture and go to my link tree, set up your free account in the community, okay? Thank you so much for joining me live today. I'll be live again tomorrow here on TikTok. I hope to catch you then. And yeah, get signed up for my class, babe. That's all I gotta say. Thank y'all. Have a great day. Bye.